This is culturally inappropriate.
This is CJ Baker, and this is the time of year where people share their list of their favorite albums of the year. If anything, they usually do it earlier in December, where in my case, I may or may not get this posted before January 1st, but at least you're going to know if the best album came out on December 31st, it's going to make the list. But I can verify the best album is not being released on December 31st. So I already gave away just my video of my favorite albums. So it's going to focus on 15 albums. So just my first shameless plug on my website, ongoinghistoryofprotestsongs.com. I have a list of the top 40 protest albums, and it's an unranked list. So basically, 10 of the albums from that list are going to be on this list as well, because obviously I gravitate towards protest music, but I don't listen exclusively to explicitly political music. So I'm going to mention just why I chose 15 albums, because it's exactly 15 albums that I have ranked at 4.5 stars on Radio Music. There's actually 16 releases, but one release was a live EP. So that was Bruce Springsteen, his Land of Hope, of Dreams EP. So I probably overrated it, but it was a very timely EP and I enjoyed it. But it's basically one of those releases. If you're a Springsteen fan, you're going to enjoy it. If you're not a Springsteen fan, it's not going to change your mind. But yeah, we'll get right into the list. So number 15, Devil's Den by Jesse Wells. So the prolific singer-songwriter, he released 4 studio albums and 2 compilations featuring the songs that he posted online. So this includes 2 different versions of the same album, the acoustic Devil's Den and the electric with the Devil. So for this, I decided to opt for Devil's Den because I do personally prefer Jesse stripped down. But both versions are an excellent showcase of his abilities as a skilled storyteller and a social commentator. And also, it'd be good to know that it'd be a mistake just to dismiss Jesse Wells as a protest singer. Because it's true that a lot of what he posts online are topical protest songs that are sometimes even immediate responses to news events. And the 2 compilations that he released really well covers that aspect of him. But this album, it does include socially conscious songs. Like, for example, the opening track is an anti-war protest song, The Great Caucasian God. So that's definitely, it's a really thought-provoking protest song, which made my list. Like I made a video of the 25 protest songs, 25 best protest songs of 2025. That was the Jesse Wells song that made that list. But there's also a lot of personal introspective songs as well. Like, for example, my favorite song on the album is the gorgeous Hold On, which deals with the emotional and personal struggles of someone that he cares about. So really it is a well-rounded song, not song, it is a well-rounded song. I mean, it's a well-rounded album, which features all different aspects of Jesse Wells and his artistic gifts. So that was album 15. We'll now go to number 14. So the album is List of Demands by Damon Locks. So this is the 4th album by the experimental jazz artist. And it is interesting to note, just as a bit of a trivia tidbit, Damon Locks. He was previously the lead singer of the post-hardcore band Trenchmouth. And that's notable because on drums, they featured Fred Armisen of Saturday Night Live and Portlandia fame. So that's just a little bit of a trivia tidbit. But what he does here, it's a departure. So it doesn't, I guess it's still a bit of a punk edge, but musically, it's totally different. So what Locks does, he blends sound collage and spoken word to explore themes of Black liberation. So it's a very compelling listening experience. So we now got album 13, Some Kind of Control by Ruby Gill. So this is the sophomore album by the South African born Australian based singer songwriter. And the album is a mix of thoughtful introspection and witty social critiques. So, concerning those social critiques, she explores themes such as body autonomy, queerness, and climate change. So, for example, concerning climate change, the track Flood I featured on the list of the 25 protest songs, but also concerning body autonomy, another highlight on the album is the song Room Full of Human Male Politicians. So basically, this gave into, I mean, it's pretty self explanatory. It's a indictment of male politicians who try to dictate what women do with their own bodies. So that was album 13. So a powerful, gorgeous album by Ruby Gill, Some Kind of Control. So we got album 12, Tonki by Lonnie Holley. So this album by this 75-year-old experimental musician, it really taps into his early life of experiencing abuse and hardship. But at the same time, even though it might have darker themes, it also conveys an optimistic message of resilience and love. And this is highlighted by two tunes that are actually named after classic protest songs. So, What's Going On, which obviously shares the name with Marvin Gaye's classic, and A Change is Gonna Come, which obviously shares a name with the Sam Cooke classic. So even though they share a name, they're all different songs, but they do powerfully explore similar themes. And one of those songs, The Change is Gonna Come, was included in my list of 25 protest songs, which you can either check out on my website, shameless plug, ongoing history, protestsongs.com, or I also posted a video version, which you could watch here as well. But yeah, it's a powerful album. And on, like, especially I already mentioned when I talked about A Change is Gonna Come, Lonnie Holley actually does have a very effective singing voice because it really it sounds authentic and you kind of sense that he lived through what he was singing about. So that's album 12. So we now got album 11, Snipe Hunter by Tyler Childers. So this album was produced by Rick Rubin. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time debating whether or not Rick Rubin is a good producer, because basically part of the argument of Rick Rubin is no one really knows exactly what he does. But what I personally know is he has produced a number of albums that I love. And also, as far as I'm concerned, he's responsible. I mean, not totally responsible, but he has to take a lot of credit for helping to resurrect Johnny Cash's career. And those American recording records are some of the best work, at least in my estimation, that Johnny Cash has ever done. But I think one thing Rick Rubin does do is I think he's really artist friendly and he gives the artist a lot of space. And I think that's part of the reason why this album is Chiodo's most adventurous and eclectic album that he's ever released, partly because Rubin and kind of encouraged that adventurous spirit. And the album, like I said, is very adventurous. It features elements of both Apache and storytelling, which is something that Childers is known for, but he mixes that in with Eastern spirituality. And then he also blends that with different music sounds, such as rock and psychedelic influences, which he adds to the more traditional country sounds. And then also subject wise, like lyrically, it's all over the place. Like you have scathing humor, such as the Biden list, which I get kicked out of. And basically the song's about hating someone so much. And I'll quote the lyric here. Like he hates this person so much that he says, and if there's a time I got rabies, you're high on my Biden list. So I just get a kick out of that. But the album also has some really heartfelt storytelling. Like, for example, the song Onita, it's a heartfelt song about being in love with an older woman. Then my absolute favorite on the album is the devastated Nose on the Grindstone. And it is technically an older song, but he re-recorded it, and it's the first time that it's basically released as a studio version that's appeared on a studio album. But the whole album showcases everything that he does best. So that's my number 11 album, Snipe Hunter by Tyler Childers. So my album number 10 is Live at Revolution Hall by Adrienne Lenker. So basically, she's also known as being part of Big Thief. And I'm a fan of Big Thief, but I do prefer her solo work. Like, for example, her 2024 album, Bright Future. It was my favorite album that year. And it was basically the only album I had at 5 stars. And I have no 5-star albums this year. And also, it featured one of my favorite songs. Basically, it was my favorite song of 2024, but it's all-time favorite. The song Wound. Every time I listen to that song, I'm devastated. But the version on this album is possible. I even prefer it. So it's basically a intimate, raw sound check version, but just something about it that also really devastates me on a personal level as well. It might even be more vulnerable than the studio version that appeared on the album. So getting more into the album, it's basically a lo-fi, intimate, live album. And it's over 2 hours long. So obviously, if you're not really familiar with Lenko, you might start off with the studio albums. But if you're all a fan, it's basically a love letter to the Converted. So featuring charming banter and heartfelt performances, it really makes you feel like you are attending the show. So like I said, this is really a gift to the Converted, but I'm definitely one of the Converted. So I absolutely love this album, Live at Revolution Hall. So we now get to album number 9. It's Magic Alive by McKinley Dixon. So this album by the Conscious Rapper, it's really a evocative exploration of identity, resilience, and the intricacies of the human experience. So the album, it blends vibrant instrumentation with poignant lyrics. So it creates a rich tapestry that reflects both personal and collective struggles. So basically, each track on the album it unfolds like a chapter. So there's really cohesive narrative that Nixon is quite effective in conveying. And there's really reoccurring themes of hope and transformation. So really the album, it resonates deeply. So it really is a powerful album. So number 8, Getting Killed by Geese. And this album really has received a lot of hype. Some might argue overhype, but I actually think the hype is deserved. But the fourth album by the band is an intriguing exploration of both vulnerability and resilience. So the album features a blend of haunting melodies and thought-provoking lyrics that delve into themes of loss, identity, and the struggle for survival in a chaotic world. And Cameron Winters' distinct, emotive vocal delivery, it blends well with the musical arrangements that are ramshackle and eclectic. So my favorite song on the album is probably Trinidad, partly because it's the opening track, but it's partly because I have a sick sense of humor and I just get a kick out of singing, "There's a bomb in my car." I don't know, I just get a kick out of that. "There's a bomb in my car," which I guess I didn't really sing that, I more shouted it. But yeah, I love that song. And there's a number of really solid songs, but I also love Taxes, which is a highlight as well. So that's my number 8 album, Getting Killed. So we now got album number 7, Sad and Beautiful World by Mavis Staples. So Staples, she's still going strong at 86 years of age. And this album by the incomparable vocalist, it's a powerful collection of socially conscious songs. Songs that both heal and galvanizes. So the track Beautiful Strangers, which was written by Kevin Morby, I also included that on my list of 25 best protest songs of 2025. But, but really, the entire album is powerful and gorgeous. So if you can listen to Mavis Staples and not feel anything, like you said that in the video, my previous video, if you can listen to her and not feel anything, I don't know if you're human. Like, I don't think you have a soul. And then, of course, along with her solo work, her work with the Staples singer should also be acknowledged. And another shameless plug on my website, Ongoing History of ProtestSongs.com, I do have an article concerning the protest songs of the Staples singers. So we're now going to get to album number 6, What of Our Nature by Haley Hendrix and Max Garcia Carnival. So this collaborative album by the singer-songwriters Haley Hendrix and Max Garcia Carnival, it features 10 songs inspired by Woody Guthrie. And just as with Guthrie, the songs are socially conscious and they well convey the human experience. So one of the album's most explicitly political tracks is Song for Alicia. So that also happened to be my number 1 protest song of the year. So spoiler alert, I probably shouldn't have said it was number 1. I probably should have said that was one of my favorites. But you can still watch the video where I talk about the song more. But the song basically tells the story of the unjust treatment of Puerto Rican independence activist and political prisoner Alicia Rodriguez. I talk about it a bit more in the video. But another highlight is Buffalo 1981. And Song for Alicia also deals with the event that happened in 1981. So 1981 is a pivotal year here. It's a pivotal year. So Buffalo 81 deals with a 1981 labor strike by the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, or PATCOR. It also alludes to how President Reagan tried to suppress their actions. So definitely some explicitly political songs. And then some other songs that maybe aren't quite as political, but they still deal with the human experience. So they definitely effectively channel the spirit of Woody Guthrie. And I think if Woody was still alive today, he would be proud of them. So we're now going to get to album number 5. So the 5th album, number 5 on the list, Fairyland Codex by TFS. So basically, TFS is an acronym for Tropical Fudge Stone, but not fudge. So the latest album by the Australian band, it navigates themes of chaos, societal critique, and personal introspection. And it often employs surreal imagery and dark humor. So each track invites an immersive experience, and it really showcases the band's ability to challenge musical conventions while delivering thought-provoking commentary. So my favorite track on the album is Goon Show, which well sums up the tumultuous political climate. And it almost made my list of 25 protest songs, because even though I think it qualifies as a protest song, it's only one song, even though it qualifies as a protest song, other songs on the list better meet the definition of protest song, even though I do prefer the song more than some of those songs. But the album is also has many different emotional layers. Like for example, there's the gorgeous tune "Stepping on a Rake," which I love. Like it gives me goosebumps listening to it. And another emotional tune is the title track, which has a really dreamy quality about it. But yeah, the entire album is pretty solid, which is why it's my 5th favorite album of the year. So we now got album number 4, Gollywog by Billy Woods. So on this album by the acclaimed underground rapper, he effectively incorporates various horrorcore elements to explore different aspects of the Black experience. So yeah, at times the album can be unsettling, but what this does, it forces the listener to confront uncomfortable truths. So I'm basically someone who feels that at times it is necessary to feel uncomfortable. And at times the album does that. But musically, it is a compelling listen that really draws you in. So a couple of the album highlights. My favorite track is probably Born a Lord, which really taps into the personal politics of the day-to-day grind. And then another song, Black Xmas, that I featured on my list of the 25 best protest songs. So you can hear me talk about that in that video. So that tune, it really ditches the festive spirit. Instead, it highlights the harsh realities that many face during the holiday season. So overall, it's just a compelling, powerful listen. So we now got Pain to Power by Maruja. So that's the 3rd best album of 2025. So this powerful full-length debut by the UK band, it really highlights their unique sound. So it merges aspects of post-punk, jazz rock, and noise rock. In the album's lyrics, it draws inspiration from themes of political awareness and social concerns. And it really expresses the band's anti-capitalism, pro-Palestinian, and anti-genocide beliefs. So I love the entire album, but one of the highlights is Look Down on Us, which made my list of one of the best protest songs of the year. So the song it really deals with, as the title suggests, it deals with how the political elites look down on the common folk. But it really is. It's an adventurous album and it's a very exhilarating listening experience. So we got album two, Viagra Boys by Viagra Boys. So this is the fourth album by the Swedish post-punk band. And I would say that this album is probably a contender for the most enjoyable album of the year. So even though the lyrics still have elements of social critiques, the lyrics are also dumb. And I mean dumb in a good fun way, in the best possible way. And really the album does not take itself too seriously. For example, and this is my favorite song on the album, but the album has a number of contenders. Like I enjoy most of the songs, or basically all the songs. I don't think there's any filler on the album. But the opening track, Man Made of Meat, this really could be considered a critique of toxic masculinity. But because it does not take itself too seriously and it's kind of a big dumb song, it's also a type of tune where toxic males they might not really get the point that they're being made fun of. So they might almost pump their fist to it and consider it their theme song. But really, the entire album, like I said, I love the album and the chaotic and catchy music arrangement. It also enhances the fun factor. So even though there's some serious critiques, it's done in a way that it does not take itself too seriously. So it's a very easy album to listen to and really enjoy and have fun with. So we'll now get into our number one album of the year.
This is culturally inappropriate.
Let God Sort Them Out by Clips. So this is the fourth album by the hip hop brother duo of Pusha T and Malice. And the album is a raw exploration of street life, temptation, and redemption. So lyrically, the album effectively reveals the conflicts they face between the allure of street life and the search for spiritual salvation. It really strikes the right balance between being raw and gritty and being emotionally heartfelt. And this is really highlighted by the first two tracks. So the first track, very emotional, it really touches my heart. The birds don't sing. So this song is about the death of their parents. But this is followed by the grittier Kendrick Lamar featuring Chains and Reps. So this also happens to be the first appearance of the phrase, this is culturally inappropriate.
We get so hyped freestyling or whatever that's going on, and in the middle of it I forgot who said it, just was like, man, this shit is culturally in the fucking appropriate, like, you know what I'm saying? And the engineer was like, yo, you know what, hold on, let me say it in the mic. He was like, let that be a constant theme.
So read this phrase, it becomes a thematic thread re-portrayed the entire album. So we helps make the album a cohesive whole. So yes, it's a powerful album, and it's my number one album of the year. So this includes my list. What did you think of my list? You can let me know in the comments. If you disagree with my opinion, you think I have bad music taste, let me know. It's okay. You can scream at me if you want to. Also, feel free to let me know what are your favorite albums of the year. Feel free to include your personal list as well. So if you want me to continue to make content like this, please like and subscribe. And you can also check out my website, ongoinghistoryofprotestsongs.com. So as previously mentioned, on my website, there's a list of the 40 best protest albums. And as mentioned, I recently released the video, the 25 best protest songs of 2025. So you can check that out as well. So thanks for watching, and please stay safe. My son is in bed. My daughters are dead. My wife is in the shed. My husband's burning lead. The rust off was fed, or else baked into bread, and nothing else has been said for 4.5 days. When that light turns red, I'm driving away. There's a Tom in my car.
This is culturally inappropriate.